Good evening, folks. Once again, welcome to another edition of A Drink with Charit. I'm really excited to have this young man with me. Before we start off, I need to see whether that I could tag him into my feed, that that his friends here in Sri Lanka and in Australia, that everyone can watch the show and see the young man talking. And Sahan, I'm trying to tag you in, mate.
All right, I'll quickly check it.
Say yes, we are. I can see myself, but I'll see whether I can tag you in. No, I can't. So what I'll do is on the comments that I will bring you in.
All right, perfect.
Right. So everyone can see you. So I have you are on my wall, so that anyone can. So you can tag your friends.
Okay, perfect.
Right. So everyone can see. I hope people can hear us, our audio. They all can hear us. Right, mate. Good to have you on the show.
Thanks.
Once more.
Thank you,
and
glad to
hope
be
you had a good, peaceful Poya day and everything's fine. That it's a holiday in Sri Lanka.
Yeah.
So people tend to take things easy and nice and easy, just like Sunday morning. And
beautiful day today.
It's a beautiful day, and I hope you had a good day. Where we start, we start with your name. I thought that's a very very nice story behind what your name is. What's your name on Facebook? It goes as Sahan. Waitforit.
Dick
Madhugadege. So Waitforit. Where did that come from? That has now registered like your middle name. Waitforit. Where did it all start? Tell us. How it happened, and what made you chose that name. Waitforit.
Well, it goes like this. So I was born in Australia. I went schooling in Australia. Everything. I know like most of the Caucasians in school couldn't pronounce my last name, Dick Madhugadege. Being of ethnic background, that was a bit of a struggle sometimes. And then around when I was 15, 16, I was watching How I Met Your Mother. And in that show, Barney Stinson says, Waitforit, has a middle name to one of the kids for Lily and Marshall. And I just thought, why don't I just put it there, like to soften it, like to make it as a joke. And then when I was 15 years old at the time, I was in year 10. I was just being an idiot on Facebook, and then I just changed it. And then it pretty much catched on. And before you know it, next day everyone at school was saying, wait for it. Yeah.
So that's how it all started. Due to a major TV series that that I remember that I think it's off the air now. They're not showing it anymore. It was a great series.
Good show. Great
and a lot of humor. I mean, people loved it. That's So that's where it all started. Sahan, Waitforit, Dick Madhugadege. Ladies and gentlemen, there you go. He's a young man, all the way from Australia. So you were born and brought up in Australia.
Yes, that's correct, Charit. So I was born in Australia. I was born in 1995. So I went schooling in Australia. I went to kinder, primary school, high school. I went even university in Australia. So I was pretty much brought up. But I came to Sri Lanka every 3-4 years as a holiday with my family. That's how it went. I didn't have a strong connection to Sri Lanka growing up. I was with the Sri Lankan community, but I wasn't frequently in Sri Lanka.
When did you you said you were born in Australia?
Yeah.
So when was the first time that you visited Sri Lanka?
First time I visited was in 1999, but I couldn't remember any of it.
Right.
The first memory was in 2004. It was before the tsunami. I came in April. I still remember it was a hot country, very humid. I really hated it. I hated it like for a while. Like, no offense to any Sri Lankans out there, but it wasn't my cup of tea really. I was brought up in a different climate and everything. People were different in Sri Lanka, so it was a major difference to me at a young age. I was only 9 years old when my fond memories of Sri Lanka.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Really, it's good stuff. That when you spoke about Sri Lanka being hot and humid.
Yeah.
What they say is that that in the cricketing world.
Yeah.
What they say is that it's one of the hardest places to play cricket.
No doubt.
Because hot the conditions.
No doubt.
And it's not easy. It's not an easy place to work and even to play cricket or to work, and it's one of the hardest, and especially if you're operating in Colombo, it's not easy.
No.
That I find, with my experience, that I always found, playing at Katarama was a challenge, compared to even Goal, the conditions are much cooler and it's breezier, and it helps. So you from small days, were you interested in cricket, or where did the interest come from?
So the cricket passion came around when I was 9 years old as well. I used to hate cricket. My dad would turn on the cricket when in Australia around 3:30. So after school, 3 o'clock school finishes, I come on and watch cartoons, and then my dad would during the cricket season, the summer season in Australia, my dad would flick on the cricket, and I would hate that growing up. Like I would just hate it. Like I couldn't watch cartoons. My dad was hogging the TV. He was watching the cricket. But then around 9 and 10, I saw Brett Lee bowling, Adam Gilchrist. Sri Lanka toured that year as well in a VB series. That was the tri-series between Sri Lanka, South Africa, and Australia. So that's when I started really following cricket.
Right.
That's where it all started. I saw Kapil Gedare. He was my first idol. I think he debuted in that series as well. He hit a few sixes of Brett Lee. And I pretty much
I remember that. He, I think, straight drove, over Brett Lee's straight pass, that onto the side screen. I still remember that.
I was only 9 years old. I was meant to be doing homework, but I was watching the cricket that day.
Kapu was exciting young talent. Unfortunately, that we didn't see the best of Kapu. And so going back a long time, so that's where you all started. What were you like in school? You were more an academic, or you were bright in your studies, and I'm sure you did your high school and college days and university and all that.
Well, growing up, like in primary school, I was a good kid. I was studious. I did my classes on time, everything. And then in high school, I changed a bit. There was 1 year I was immature, and then I started going back on track. And then in year 11, I don't know what happened to me. Because up to year 10, because only school in Australia goes up to year 12. There's no year 13 like in Sri Lanka. So in year 10, I was one of the top in my class in maths, especially. And then when it came to year 11, so VCE is called A levels here. It goes for 2 years. I was pretty much a drop kick after that. I mucked around. I was chasing girls. I was having fun.
So you're being human, mate. That's the way it should be. Everyone's not going to end up as a doctor, professors, and engineers. And some people pursue their careers and become academics, and some don't.
Exactly.
And people like us, average kid in school, but I wasn't that bad. But I decided, that I'm going to, stick to sports. And I'm pretty much glad looking back that, there is a sometime, I thought, did I make the right decision by not continuing my studies? But looking back, no regrets, absolutely no regrets. It gave me a lot of opportunities to travel around the world, meet new people, and embark on new careers. And, that was pretty exciting. So looking back, no regrets. I hope it's still the same with you, looking back, no regrets.
Right now, yes, no regrets. Because in high school, everyone expected me to do well, and then it was just a massive turnaround. I was wagging school, I was cutting out classes. That was pretty much it. I ended up failing year 11 that year. So I had to repeat year 11. Because I was in Sri Lanka, as I grew up in Melbourne. So there was a tight-knit Melbourne Sri Lankan community. And all the kids around me were all studying and pretty much in the system, all going to classes, getting top scores. And I just didn't feel comfortable with that. Everyone's just a robot, day after day, 9 to 5. I just didn't believe in that story.
So did you do any sports, while you were in school?
I played cricket growing up in school. I was pretty much academic, doing sports as well, basketball, soccer. I pretty much played everything at lunchtime in school. So I was pretty much having fun. That's what I didn't want it. So I ended up failing year 11, and then in year 12, I stuffed around as well. I ended up passing year 11 after I failed it. Then I went to year 12, so my final A-level exams, and I just pretty much the same story again. I was stuffing around. I remember my A-level exams. I had maths exam, and I wrote the MCQ. I wrote FUs, the F word on the MCQ. Go to the final exams, and I got a 0 for my maths A-level exam. So I got called up to the principal, everything there.
So you were pretty much a rebel, during your time, man. So
Yeah.
it was the education wasn't a
Nah.
must. So
Yeah.
I guess that I presume that you didn't go to university.
I ended up going to university, so
Right.
I failed A levels. I then had a friend that he wrote a transcript for me saying I had a mate. I'm not sure if I should. So he wrote me saying that I worked for his company for 2-3 years. He gave me credits. He said I've done accounting and all that stuff. And then I got transferred into a first year diploma at a university. So I was pretty much given a second chance in
Okay.
education. And in that year, so I got a diploma, and then in that year I actually studied. I cut out people. So this was 2016. So after high school and everything failed, I got into the diploma. I started studying really hard. I was like, all right, I've been given a second chance. Let's study for one more year. I started really hard. I was on top of my game, studying and everything. And then eventually I finished the top of the cohort for that university cohort. I finished #1 ranked student. And then I got into to one of the top universities in Victoria, which is called Monash University.
Yep.
That's
You went to Monash.
Yeah, so in
Okay.
Sri Lanka community, that's pretty high. Most people study most of their lives still can't get into the university. I pretty much went 1 year. I only studied for 1 year, and then I ended up getting into Monash University. But after that, I always knew uni wasn't for me. I just wanted to prove to everyone that I can study. The Sri Lankan community would talk a lot of crap about me, as you know, Sri Lankans are sometimes. They talk a lot of crap about me, saying I can't study. I'm such a failure in life, especially the aunties growing up. And yeah, so I ended up proving them all wrong, which was really satisfying.
So what did you study in
I studied business, international business.
Okay.
I was halfway through the year, and that's when the business idea came up. And yeah, so that's where it all began from there.
So you got a degree in business
I
studies.
have a diploma of business. I had another year and a half to go at Monash to complete my degree, but I gave that up to start my cricket venture.
Yeah. Now that you started your cricket venture, so you got to tell the people who are watching you out there, and where it all started. Where the interest came, because you didn't have any exposure to manufacturing bats.
No, I did not. No.
Any time in your life.
No,
So where the inspiration came, how you developed an interest, or you wanted to pursue a different career,
Yes.
and you being a student of Monash and give up everything, about another year to go to finish your degree, and gave up everything. Why you embarked on a different career path, and where it all started and where the inspiration came from. You got to tell the people.
Yeah, that's so pretty much I grew up. I ended up loving cricket. In 2007, the World Cup, C. Jayawardene, Kumar Sankara, Mahela, during the World Cup, dominating. And then I just fell in love with the game. I was pretty much a cricket fanatic after that. So growing up, I'd watch cricket, and then towards the end of high school, I would go to the cricket stores. I remember with my ex-partner at the time, we would go to the movies on a date, and then we'd buy tickets, but we have a half an hour waiting time. So in that time, I'd say, oh, let's go to the cricket store. And I'll go to the cricket store, pick up some cricket bats, and just play around at the store. So that's when my love of cricket bats began. I really wanted to collect cricket bats, but it was too expensive in Australia. So I started collecting cricket shirts and everything. And then, after I flunked out of high school, and then I got into Monash. In 2017, I came to Sri Lanka as a holiday. I came by myself to visit Sri Lanka, and I really wanted to get the cricket Dilma top. The back in the days when Jayawardene, Sankara.
Do you want to get a cricket top?
The Dilma top. The
okay,
retro
all right.
Dilma
Just
top.
our cricket jersey.
Jersey, yes, the jersey, the proper cricket jersey.
Official cricket gear.
Official cricket gear.
Right. Okay.
I had one, but it wasn't the official one.
Okay.
I really wanted their Dilma, so I went hunting in Sri Lanka. This was in 2017. I knew my chances were low. I went to a lot of shops. In that time, I would see cricket bats were a bit expensive. That's I would see them for 70,000, 80,000 rupees. I didn't think much of it at the time. I just noticed, oh yeah, it's expensive, but I didn't it was a subconscious thing. It was in the back of my mind. Cricket bats are expensive. Unfortunately, I couldn't find that cricket top. So that happened. But I visited 5 stores in that time in Sri Lanka. In that time, I noticed all the cricket bats were expensive. I didn't think much to it. And then I went back to Australia. And then that's when I started studying at Monash. For the first 6 months, I wasn't really liking uni. I knew uni wasn't my thing. I just wanted to prove people wrong. And then in that time, I was working part-time at the airport, Melbourne Airport, as a ground serviceman. So I was refilling aircrafts and all that, turning around aircrafts, bringing in aircrafts at the time. So I was saving money throughout that time. And then I remember in April 2017, I was just in the backyard. I wasn't really like uni. I was just about to go to the gym. I was in the backyard just swinging the cricket bat. And then I was like, what do I like? And I said, I like cricket. And then in 2017, I liked Sri Lanka so much. I said, oh, maybe I might start a business there. And then somehow it just clicked me. Sri Lanka don't make cricket bats. And then I thought I can make cricket bats in Sri Lanka. And then I quickly Googled, I called my cousins up. I asked people around, do Sri Lanka make cricket bats? And pretty much the answer was no, no one makes cricket bats. They make softball bats, but they don't make cricket bats for leather balls. And I was like, oh, that might be an all right idea. So I did a lot more research. I went to YouTube. I was watching videos all night. I was pretty much not going to uni again. I was just staying up late, just learning how to make cricket bats. I went to a few cricket bat makers back in Australia. I visited them. I didn't tell them. I just went and bought bats from them, and they would make the bats in front of me, right in front of my eyes. So I'd take bits and pieces, what I learned from YouTube, what I learned from this guy, that guy. So like I had 5 different sources of cricket bat makers, and then I pretty much picked out each one because I didn't have much money. I was working part-time while I was a student. So I was like, all right, this sounds doable. So I bought a few machines. I went to a local hardware store, bought a few machines, got it together, and then I was making bats, and then I gave it to a few of my friends in Australia. They were playing because, mind you, I was actually playing cricket in Australia, like club cricket, as a kid. I wasn't very much good at it, so I pretty much gave up the dreams of becoming a cricketer. So yeah, and then my mates were like, "Oh yeah, the bats are right. The bats are good. You just need a bit more work, but the bats are good." I was like, "All right, cool." And then I had an exam coming up, and then there was another bat maker far from Victoria, and he's like, he can only make a bat that day, and he's going on holidays, and he said he won't be coming back for another few months, like 3-4 months. And I thought, all right, do I go learn from him, or do I go and sit my exams? And then being me, my gut feel said just go for your cricket dream. So I pretty much didn't rock up to my exams, went to that bat maker, learned it, and then pretty much I couldn't attend the rest of the year. So I just had to drop out of the university, hand in my resignation form. And then, so pretty much I was like, all right, I'm getting the hang of it. This is around September now. So I was like, all right, I've got to make a decision here. What should I do? I just went my gut feel. So I bought a few boxes from Melbourne to Colombo, put all my machines in there, sold my car, and then pretty much shipped everything to Sri Lanka. And then I made the move in January 2018. I came to Sri Lanka. And that's when the Sri Lanka cricket journey began.
Right, very exciting, where it all started, that from very humble beginnings and learning to make a cricket bat out of nothing, I mean, did you realize that, it's just like carving a bat out of just like a piece of log, and it's called a cleft, right?
Cleft,
yeah, it's a
cleft.
cleft.
It comes in a long square, like a square wooden piece, not a log. It's carved and everything.
Yeah.
At the start, my first bat was like a piece of paper when I first started making cricket bats. I realized that I was in for a long run.
Yeah.
But I said to myself, look, nothing comes easy, you have to work for it no matter what. Because I learned more when I got into Monash, I actually studied hard to get where I wanted. So I knew I'd have to put the same 100% mental effort, physical effort just to get the same thing. Because I knew, because going back to Monash, I realized if I can not pass A levels and still get into Monash, you can do anything if you put your mind to it. So I said to myself, all right, put 100% into this and let's see where it goes. I was confident I can pull it off in Sri Lanka. And then, so I moved to Sri Lanka and that's how we went.
Great story, mate. My show is all about, inspiring people and so giving others a chance to whatever they do in life, giving them a realistic chance, as you say that, not to give up, and in life, everything's it's progression, things don't happen overnight.
No, it doesn't.
And so you got to keep at it.
Yeah.
And, I think in my previous shows also that we discussed about it, how you become a world-class act.
Yes.
That's whatever you do, whatever the field that you are in, whether you're a sportsman, you're a professional entrepreneur, things don't happen overnight. I mean, it's not like winning a jackpot. It's you got to keep at it. You got to work at it. Over a period of time, and then the number of hours you put in. What I have come to realize that yes, luck plays a little, a small part. Not exactly. Sometimes you need a bit of luck. But it's the number of hours that you put behind. So you keep working hard. It's just like when I started doing this, I had no clue how to. I had a group of guys helping me out because I wasn't technically savvy. Then I started doing research on it, and then I was lucky enough that people came forward, and I really appreciate some of the people, my friends, generosity. They got me the hardware, got the cameras, then okay, today for the first time I'm using this sophisticated software, which gives me the opportunity to have you it's like to interview from a different location and having you in front of me like a proper interview. So it's just progression. Things did not happen just overnight, and it's not going to happen.
No.
So as I always say that the more I learn, less I know. So there is no end to what you know. And the other day, just a story to tell people that that I took you to this opening. It was Percy's book launch, and the sports store open, and you had the opportunity of meeting Sangha. And I must tell people that I know that you were excited. There were lots of people in the store, and we had to wait quite a while to meet Sangha. But you saw how humble the man was. With all the selfies that were taken around, and so many people wanting his autograph, and so in demand. But he made time for you. That he said, mate, I want to have a look at your bat. And then he gave you some very valuable advice. And he said, this is how I prefer my bat. But perhaps someone else will have a different preference, how you make. So for you, and I believe it's a learning curve, so you have spoken to absolutely true legend, and it's a world-class act, and to have a look at your bat and to make those adjustments. So I believe you are just starting your journey, the manufacturing bats in this country, but you still have a very long way to go. And you tell me how you like. The problem is so what I want to say is if you were in Australia, you probably would have had the opportunity of visiting some of the factories or meeting bat makers and do the fine tuning. Sometimes you need a teacher.
You do.
In life, things become easy because someone teaches which way to go. So like what happened. Now another example I'll tell you. Like my show is about telling people stories, and when I got these these sophisticated microphones, I couldn't get it going. And then I was doing all kinds of things. I ripped it apart, and I was trying to insert batteries, and that's I thought, no, I'll do it all by myself, and it did not work. And then I got a like a professional production guy to come over and help me out. The guy sorted out in 10 minutes, and whereas I wasted so much time. So in life, sometimes you need a teacher, a guy who's good at what he is doing. So how are you going to in Sri Lanka that you may not have that opportunity? When you have to make that final hurdle, you know what I mean? It's out there. I'm sure that you're a pretty smart kid, that you will figure it out how to fine tune it. But that you're going to come up with that challenge. You see that now. That sometime back I was dealing with SG, and I have played cricket all my life. But I visited few factories during my career, but I had no clue what amount of effort that goes in to make a bat. And it's just amazing. I was I spent 3 days in the factory just learning how to make cricket gear. And more I visited, and I was completely amazed. And in the craftsmanship, and what a lot of attention that goes in. From the time you pick up a piece of wood and carving it into a beautiful piece of bat. So and it's like some of those guys who are working in those factories, they have been working there for 20-30 years and still make mistakes.
There's always mistakes. Like you can't, some out of every 10 bats, so there might be just one that might go wrong. It's not like a procedure. You need 100% mental effort into it. Just one small mistake in a cricket bat, if you cut too much, you can't do. It's thrown away. So it's very little.
So it's a massive wastage,
very wastage.
to making bats. And also And I think when you sell a bat, you don't give a guarantee, isn't it? There is no guarantee as such that
You can't really guarantee, because as you see on TV, bats break.
yes,
You can, like, the thing is, what I make my bats is like make as strong as possible, for the bats not to break. But at the end of the day, bats do break. That's the sad truth. I would love to last it forever, but the bats do break, so there's nothing we can do about
just
that.
give me a minute, mate. I just want to
Yeah.
watch that. Just keep talking. That's
Yeah.
like I want to see whether we are like going public. Just to make sure.
Yeah.
I,
No problem. Yeah. So yeah, that's where pretty much my career journey began. I came to Sri Lanka in 2018. I had my parents' holiday house.
okay.
Yeah. So parents weren't using it, and then I asked my parents, "Oh, can I just use that holiday house to live there?" And they're
Right.
like, "Oh yeah, sure, no problem." And then so I was pretty much there. So I got a bat press and everything. So I was pretty much making small bats here and there in Sri Lanka. And then I noticed in Sri Lanka, the bats that are custom to Australia are different to the players here. So players like small bats. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I
Yeah.
made a mistake that I had the privacy on this private, so the people couldn't. Apologies that the people out there,
Oh, really?
that say couldn't. It doesn't matter. It will be recorded.
Okay. Yeah.
That's So I was wondering why, how come very few viewers on the show.
Oh, really?
And sorry, people, my apologies. I had the privacy on, and so that only I could see.
Oh.
But now I have opened it, and the people out there, everyone can see the feed. So,
Okay.
but the feed will start, from wherever we are now.
Okay.
But they can always go back and so
Okay.
nothing happens to the feed. At the end of
Okay.
the day.
All right.
So
They can
my
rewatch it.
apologies for the mistake that I made. That I should have had it. Rather than just restricting the viewership, I should have had it public, so that everyone would have seen it. So, but I made the change now. So hopefully the people can see, and that they will join the show. Right. Once again, apologies. People, if you missed the top half of it, and you can always go back, as I said, and watch the show. And it's brilliant. It's always a pleasure talking to this kid.
Thanks for having me.
That's go on, no worries. So what you're saying that like there's no guarantee making a bat, but the mistakes can happen. So the wastage is high, and so you got all those challenges going in, and it's such a hard task.
Yes.
And so much effort that goes in. So tell us that now you got a full-fledged factory going here.
Pretty much, yes. So I have an investor came on board. So now I've moved into a bigger location. But so yeah, in 2018, I moved to Sri Lanka. I had my parents' holiday house.
Right.
And it was a small little, they had a small garage that was just empty. And then I said to my dad, why don't I just use that to make bats?
Okay.
Like, yeah, sure. So in 2018, I was pretty much making small bats here and there. I was getting used to. I was going to meet players. They said the bats were a bit too heavy. They're not accustomed to the Australian bats, because back in Australia, most of them liked heavy bats, heavy bats. And then I was like, so I need to change that up. So I was changing it up. I was getting used to the Sri Lankan market, so there's a big variable difference from the Australian market, because the Australian batsmen's like 210, 212 pounds, 2 pound, 12 ounces. And Sri Lankans are like 2 pounds, 6 ounces, 2 pound, 7 ounces. So there's a huge difference there. So I was getting used to that. So throughout that year, I was making cricket bats. I was making Kashmir bats at the same time.
Okay.
I was testing that market out. The thing is, Sri Lankans didn't like Kashmir as much. So in that year, I was also buying it from a Pakistan guy at the time last year. And I ended up buying 30 clefs from him at the start. And that 30 clefs thing is, before, when I was training in Australia, I was buying from him, the Pakistani guy.
Right.
He was getting it from CA, and he was selling it to me. And then I did a big order. I bought 30 bats from him, 30 clefs. He only sent me 6 clefs and did a run-up with the other one. So I lost 9 lakhs.
Hang on. You ordered 30 clefs?
30 clefs from a Pakistan seller.
Okay.
Because the thing is, in England, you have to buy a minimum 200 clefs or 100 clefs.
Okay.
I just didn't have the money. I was just on my own money, from saving up throughout working last 2 years before I moved to Sri Lanka.
Okay.
So I saved up about 10 lakh. So 10,000 AUD was 10 lakhs or 11 lakhs.
Yeah.
I bought 30 clefs from the Pakistan guy.
Uh-huh.
Unfortunately, he only sent me 6 clefs, and
And you paid for all 30.
I paid for all 30.
Yeah.
I lost 24 clefs. I bought.
So why did he do that? He cheated you or
He
what?
cheated me. So I lost nearly 9 lakhs worth of money just with a click of a finger.
So there was no way that you
No
could
way.
get your
He's blocked me everything. I tried to chase him up. I tried to contact lawyers. So it got really tough at that time, at that stage. So I pretty much lost 9 lakhs, and then money was a bit running low. It was getting tough. The business was getting tough.
Now I think you got to mention this guy's name, because I have very good contacts in. Maybe there are people in Pakistan watching this show.
Yeah.
And it's all about people can't play other people out and get away in life. It's not right. I know the CA, the CA bat owner very well.
Yeah.
And if he's a supplier to CA, I think we should take this matter up. With Pakistan. That's daylight robbery, mate. You order 30 clefs.
Yeah.
And the guy sends you only 6 clefs.
6 clefs,
which is totally unacceptable.
Yeah.
And is he just like a wood supplier, or he's just a bat manufacturer?
I think he's a bat manufacturer. He's a sports manufacturer as well. He does a small business. The thing is, I didn't have enough money to buy from England at the time.
Yeah.
So I thought I'd just buy from Pakistan, just go from here. Once I get big, I'll buy from England or Australia. Like that was a plan. So he pretty much robbed me 9 lakhs. He was meant to make me gloves as well, pads and everything. So I lost 9 lakhs just with a click of a finger. He blocked me on everything. And then, I lost that. So pretty much I accepted that. It was my stupidity on my behalf,
Mate, the reason why I brought you on the show, because I felt that, you're a decent young bloke who's trying to come up in life.
Yeah.
And you need a helping hand.
Yeah.
And this is the first time that, on my show that I'm having a guy who's not really established. Most of the guys whom I've had, they have, had brilliant careers in the past, and people who have moved into places. But, you're just coming up in life. So off the record, okay, you don't have to mention the name.
I can.
You can or you can't?
I can.
You can. Yeah, but I advise you. It can be, there can be, legal complications and all that. So what I would do is, my personal assurance to you that after the show, you let me know who the supplier is. That I will drop him a personal letter, and probably I know most of these guys. And what we can do is make a request, just to oblige that what he owes you. At least at this stage, you can forget 24 clefs, at least you can get half of it, or probably 15 clefs that you could recover part of your money. I mean, these are things that happens when you start on your own. And especially when you deal with entities that are like whom you have not dealt with. Happened to me, in life, dealing with certain Pakistani traders. I was shipping tea to Pakistan, and the first shipment went right, the second shipment went right, third one goes double the quantity, and the guys disappear. And to tell you the truth, I actually went to Peshawar, and I went to Afghanistan, to no man's land, tracking these guys down. Seriously, I went, sat with them.
I'm actually planning to do that once I come established. I am not letting go.
So you need to, but one advice I can give it to you: going to Pakistan and taking these guys on, you're totally, and especially as a foreigner, so your chances are absolutely zilch. You may not win the battle. So the guys, you might go to, I suppose it's in Karachi, Lahore. Yeah. So you may go to Lahore and you will end up without any support, because you are in their territory. So it may not, but you can try. It's worth a try. So ask a guy to come for a discussion. And they will ask you. Their hospitality is brilliant. The Pakistani hospitality is very good, and they may ask you to come over to the shop, sit with you, talk to you, and nothing may happen. But before you go, you need to do your homework. You'll have to have some proper contacts there, which I can arrange for you, because I got pretty solid contacts over there. And there are good people, even like in everywhere else in the world. You get the good, the bad, and the ugly. So prepare yourself. But my advice to you: don't let it go. The man owes you. Follow it up, and I will also help you if you can recover part of it. And that's a massive shock. You start up on your own business, and you get a massive hit like that. So how did you survive after that?
So pretty much it was getting tough, and then I eventually met you. That's where you came along and saved me, pretty much. So I was pretty much in April, May, I was pretty much running out of money. I only had 6 bats to play with, but I had cashmere bats. So I was selling cashmere bats here and there.
So you were buying cashmere willow from
India,
Pakistan?
India. I was
Okay.
buying that from India.
So what wood did you buy from Pakistan?
English willow.
Okay.
English willow, the CA company would give it to him.
Yeah.
Like he would work. I think he would steal from CA or something like that.
Yeah.
And then some, like, I don't know. But eventually I got the English willow from Pakistan. I was getting cashmere from India.
Right.
The Indian guys, they were perfect with me. I was making Indian cashmere bats, selling to the kids. But the thing is, it just wasn't going well because the name cashmere wasn't that good enough. It just doesn't sell in Sri Lanka.
Right.
In Australia, cashmere bats is like every kid startup buys a cashmere bat. That's how it is. In Sri Lanka, it's always English willow, just for the name. So that's what I noticed, the difference.
Is there a difference in the willow?
There is a big difference.
Yeah.
Cashmere is heavier, the sweet spot's lower, but I believe that's what makes you a better cricketer, you know, that because the bat's a bit heavier, the sweet spot's a bit smaller, so you have to actually time the bat, you know, get into position. That's what I believe this difference is. That's what may help a little kid, a kid growing up to be on good play, because he then ends up naturally middling the ball. Not with English willow, where the sweet spot's bigger and lighter.
Sahan, I must tell you another story, and I do a lot of talking. I'm
Yeah.
just trying to help you out in this show,
Yeah.
Because you're doing an interview for the first time.
Yeah.
When the time we were playing,
Yeah.
that that there was a time that there were no imports to Sri Lanka, that they couldn't import anything.
Oh, really?
So we didn't have any bats. So only bat that was imported into the country from India called Chakravarti.
Yeah.
I don't think they manufacture bats anymore. So whether we, only few kids, who have traveled overseas, their parents have traveled overseas, who have bought a bat, from another country and brought to Sri Lanka. Guys like us,
Yeah.
I didn't have a bat. So from about, I think, under 12 up to about under 16, I was using these Indian bats.
Yeah.
So my point is, they were heavy.
Yeah.
And the sweet spot is, just centered, just if you hit the ball anywhere else, the ball wouldn't go.
Yeah.
So it makes you a better cricketer.
batsman.
So
Yeah, it
because,
does.
back of your mind, you got a piece of wood
Yeah.
that wouldn't travel.
Yeah.
So your idea is to try and middle the
Middle
ball
it.
all the
Yeah.
time. So
Yeah.
it's a very good point which
Yeah.
you made, which I want to tell the parents who are if they are listening, who wants to buy a bat for their kid.
Yes.
Don't go buy
Yes.
top of the range bat at the start.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a brilliant advice.
Yeah.
I must say that they should start from scratch.
Yeah, yeah.
Buy a normal bat,
Yeah.
Kashmiri willow,
It
and
doesn't cost much either. It's
exactly
70% less, yeah.
comparatively to an English bat, it will cost you, even
Yeah.
1/4
Yeah.
of the price.
I shouldn't be. I'm not even selling Kashmir anymore. But I'm here to help Sri Lanka. That's the difference between making a good cricketer. I reckon it's just that the sweet spot's lower. It's a bit heavier. It just makes you work for the ball. It makes you work. Like
Brilliant point. I
Yeah.
think so far in our chat, what you have come up with,
Yeah.
that which I never thought. I didn't. It skipped my mind that when someone I get a lot of calls still. People, parents, wants to buy a bat. They want to buy the best.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. I mean, say for an example, the guy is a top cricketer, playing under 19 and making tons of runs, and he wants to get better. That's fine.
Yeah.
Invest in a good
Yeah.
bat, and that's fair enough. But a kid who's starting under 12, under 13s, all you
Yeah.
need is just a stick.
Yeah.
And get used to middling
Yeah.
the ball,
Oh, yeah.
and then you become a better cricketer. Then you have a better piece of wood in your hand. It makes a huge difference.
Yes. Exactly.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
So that in Australia,
Yeah.
people buy Kashmiri willow.
Yeah. That's my first bat was a Kashmir.
Yeah,
That's how I learned how to play cricket. Middling the ball. In Sri Lanka, it was a whole differently. They didn't want the Kashmir bats. So I was surprised, but you can't change people's mind. It's because of the thing is the customer's always right. That's the policy we have to go through in business. So I pretty much was running out of money. No one was buying Kashmir as much. And that's when I met you. I remember meeting you when Colombo, it was the Sri Lanka T20 Pro.
yeah. I think we were training when I first met you at Ketarama.
No. It was at Colombo CCC.
Okay.
Colombo and Gaul just played a match, like those.
Okay.
T20
One of those district games. Okay.
No, the district games, and you guys were packing up, and I wanted to meet Tisera Pereira.
Okay.
I was coming out and I saw you, and I don't know someone. I asked where can I meet Tisera Pereira, and it's like, ask the team Colombo manager, and then they pointed to you, and then I spoke to you, and you said, this is in there, but you sounded nice, you sounded like a good person. and then you were walking off.
Thank
and
you, mate. I mean, lots of people don't say, good things about me.
Yeah.
Not that it really matters, and especially like that again, I should apologize to people that sometimes when you're on duty, managing a team, it can be stressful.
Yeah.
There are lots of people who come and the press, they come and ask, they demand for interviews, and the players don't want to give interviews, and there can be other logistic issues. And and at a situation like that, sometimes I lose my cool, and I can get pretty harsh. But you say that I was nice to you. It's great to hear. I mean, it's excellent.
Yeah, so that's why then I stopped and said, look, I'm a cricket bat maker. And then I remember you turning around, it's like, oh, you make cricket bats? I'm like, yeah, I do. And it's like, oh, where's it? I'm like, I just gave some to put under that. And it's like, oh, can I get your contact? I'm like, yeah, sure. And then I got your number. And then you said, oh, sure, Team Columbus training in Ketarama next Sunday. Come down and have a look. Come down, bring some bats. Yeah, sure, no problem. And so that's where I met you. And then
so actually, I can't recall that meeting you. I remember you. I probably now that you mentioned that I met you, and then I invited you to join one of our training sessions, right? That's how it all
I remember
started.
everyone that's helped me along the way. Like, I don't forget that.
Right.
That's one thing I say to myself, even if this business fails, I remember the ones that helped me get to this position, and that memory will always stick to me. So that then we kept in contact, and then you said, I told you I make Kashmir bats, and then you said, you gave me a link to Sri Lankan Cricket, and they bought some bats off me. So they pretty much bought the rest of my Kashmir bats.
Who did?
Sri Lankan Cricket.
Okay.
You gave me contact.
Okay.
So that's where you pretty much saved me. That's the money I had left off, and then from that money, I pretty much was living on one meal a day in Sri Lanka. It was pretty tough, no one was buying my bats and that. Because the Kashmir wasn't selling, but that sale from the Sri Lankan Cricket pretty much gave me 3-4 months to survive in Sri Lanka. I was living on one meal a day. I was eating in the Ampang 30 rupee string hoppers. That's the.
But I can see that but the Sri Lankan food has done a lot of good to
now it has.
See, when I first saw you, like you were like a skinny like a stick, and now that you have gained, so you must be eating well now.
Now I am, indeed, So, and then I had a few of my mates in Sri Lanka. I told them about the business, and they were like, oh, we can help you out. So they jumped on board. The one was the marketing manager, and one was the strategist, Sahan and Akalanka. They helped me a lot. And then they pretty much chucked some money in and helped me buy some wood from England. He was a small log cutter. He sent some English willow trees cliffs to me. And then I started making bats. And then I remember the Sri Lankan team came back from tour, and you said, oh, we're back. And then I said, I got some bats here from English willow, proper ones, because the Pakistani ones were crap. The 6 clips that he sent me were crap. It just wasn't right. So pretty much I got a dud deal here. And then I came to you and I showed you the bats, and you're like, the players loved it and tested it. So then I knew, like, all right, there's a chance to do this. I remember meeting Dick Weller at Kusal Pereira, and they said, the bats are good. They're good quality. There's a few improvements you have to do.
I remember the boys were good to you. Yes.
Yeah. I was taken back because one thing I noticed in Sri Lankan media, I give crap about the players. That's realistic. That's really sad to see. Like, they shine down on some of the players in Sri Lankan cricket, but all the boys were just so nice and humble. They came down training. They said they gave me tips to improve the bats. They said you can do this, that. They were more than happy. So I was taken back. Because in Sri Lanka, most people see the media, right? They believe what they see in the media. The crap that Sri Lankan media put to the players is unbelievable. I think it's really unfair for a young player coming through, and the crap they get from the media is just.
Well, it happens. I mean, it's part of the deal. Being a public figure. There are always challenges coming from media, and that's got to be that's part and parcel of the whole package. So you got to. How you handle the press, which is challenging. It's not only for the players. Sometimes, the pressure comes, unlike some of the other professional teams that Sri Lanka at the time I was managed, I did not have a media manager. So I was performing many roles at the same time. I was multitasking. And so not only just my on-field activities, there were many off-field activities, plus my administration work, plus handling the media. So it was handful, but that's what it was. It's always a challenge. So you got to the players, despite all those pressures, but they need to. I'm happy to hear that the boys were good to you.
Definitely.
And the fact is, mate, now it's a brilliant story. How you struggled. You had the
Yeah.
start. So in a nutshell, when you first started, that you lost your first consignment of wood, and then that you really struggled. You were less surviving on a few string hoppers a day, and that you did not have any money. And fortunately, Sri Lanka Cricket, they bought some bat out of you, and then how you met these guys, who came on board. And
so that's when I first started believing in myself. All right, like they were sponsored at the time, but they still gave me the advice. I'm like, all right, I can do this. Because they said the bat prices were so expensive. I remember one player was saying he buys the sponsor he gets. The bats he gets are crap. He has to go to the shops and buy proper bats and put his sponsor stickers on. That's how they go. And they pay 70, 80,000, 1 lakh sometimes for a cricket bat. And in my mind, I'm thinking like I can make it to like at least 80% cheaper, but better bats. I believe there's a market because I came here to help Sri Lanka. If I really wanted money, I could have finished my degree and live pretty good life.
So we'll get there. I mean, let's say yes. That there are many things. Pay what people see out there. They may see boys, like certain stickers on their bats, and they are sponsored. Yes, every time they go in front of the TV and they get paid. Just displaying the bats. But what's underneath can be something else. It's not. So that's a market that which you can work on. Because the fact is, that you're talking about professional players. So the piece of wood in their hands, it matters, every run counts. So they don't mind investing in a good piece, sometimes it's very difficult to find good bats.
It is.
But I know some of the guys, good example, Chandimal, although, he didn't score much today. He's one guy who really spent money on bats. The other guy was, and I remember Kumar used to buy bats, like very top of the range bats, Mahela, all those guys, they part and parcel, that's their bread and butter. And this is the biggest problem that, I remember that when we go to England, there's a bat manufacturer, I think he still makes, he started, I think, King's, what do you call the bat? Berry, the old bat. I used to, own one of those.
Kingsbury.
Is it Kingsbury?
No,
that's Kingsbury is a hotel here, mate. It's the, I forget the name of the bat now.
Kingsbury?
No, it's some berry, that's a Newberry. Newberry.
Okay.
You haven't heard of Newberry? They still make the best bats. They're custom made bats, but they don't market it under a brand name as such. They do. They still make your Newberry bats, but you can actually walk into the workshop. You can get a bat made the way you want.
Yes,
the top grade, A grade, below. So there is a market for you, which you can, like what Sangha said, that before we move on, that other difficulties you have. And that's something you could do internally.
So
right?
So this was in October.
And tell people that the difficulty you have, that the locals, the Sri Lankans, not responding and buying your bats, but still prefer to. Then I will tell you the reason why. How difficult it is for you to sell bats locally.
Because that's the thing. So this was back. We're talking back in 2018. So then I realized some of the Sri Lankans, they were a bit hesitant buying a cricket bat, because it's a new product. In Australia, it's a bit different. You see a new product, you want to support it, you buy it. In Sri Lanka, the people's mentality is a bit different. They're very.
That's another good point. Sri Lankans, that they never support our local industries. They would do anything, any junk that is put in front of them. If it is imported, it probably our mindset coming from for generations. We prefer everything foreign. That don't appreciate our local things. Is one of the reasons why I brought you today. Show people your brand name, Staunch. People. That's my brand. There you go. That's his brand name, Staunch. And people remember, if you want to buy a bat next, and support this local guy. And okay, now let me tell you the why you cannot sell bats locally, and that your bats are not. Say for an example, now I would mention some of the brand names. If you look at what is available in Sri Lanka and in the bats the top range bats you are selling, there is no massive price difference. So what the Sri Lankans expect of you, so local bat, so they want a big disparity in prices. But you can't. Unfortunately, because you pay taxes, right?
Thank you.
On the wood that you bring into the country, you pay a massive tax. But the irony of the whole, it's laughable. Actually, it's a joke. You know what? We have given a zero duty waiver to import bats.
Yes.
So all those top bats
Yeah.
come into the country,
Yeah.
duty is waived off. But so he is a local guy
To
who's
make it.
trying to make bats, and you are bringing the raw material and you are heavily taxed.
Yeah.
So it's absolutely laughable, you know.
Where's
And
the
I
balance?
wanted to bring that point up,
Yeah.
and I hope, you know, if any ministry, finance ministry, treasury guys, you know, listening out there, this boy needs support. And this is where, as a country, we are going wrong. Now it's becoming my show because I'm getting very emotional talking about it, Sahan. Sorry, you know, I'm taking your time. This is your show, but you being my guest. You see how stupid, you know, our systems are.
Yeah.
You put massive import duty on raw material that we bring in. So you make a finished product, you cannot sell it because you are not competitive, because the other guys, you know, bringing a finished product into the country without duty.
Yeah.
Doesn't work.
Doesn't work.
You know, so but as we told you, what we want to do is, you know, like make an appeal, write to the sports minister. I think, you know, that as you know that, you know, that there's a different regime that has come into power. I think hopefully that, you know, those people will do far better work than the previous regime. You know, I'm not, you know, shy to say it.
Yeah.
Nothing happened the last 4 or 5 years, you know, in the country. This is what happened. This is why people got sick. You know, nobody encouraged the local industries. They couldn't compete with the, you know, imported products because our duty structures are absolutely crazy. And you get hammered, you know, you go to customs and they charge you 30%, 20%, you know, on raw material. You are immediately out of competition.
Yeah. That's
so you know, as Sangha said, you know what I can do is, again, that we'll get that letter across to the sports ministry.
Thank you so much.
Right, and we'll make a request to the treasury to give you a duty waiver on the raw material that you're bringing in, so you become competitive.
Yes, that's it. Because I want to create jobs as well. You know, if I can employ people, you know, that's the thing. You know, this isn't just making bats. This is another person, another bat maker having a livelihood. You know, that's where it's a long list. It's just not just making cricket bats, and for the batsmen, for the kids to make it affordable. It's for other workers to have a job. You know, it's just not about one thing. It's
exactly my point. So you know, you develop local industries. You create jobs for people. And these are like, you know, they're specialized jobs, you know, which you pay good money to, because you told me how much you pay these guys. And imagine you're paying a guy 4,000, 5,000 rupees a day, and that's a decent wage. They can, you know, have a decent life. You know, if guy works for 20 days of the month, he gets 100,000 rupees.
And that goes back into Sri Lankan economy.
Exactly.
It's a circulation, you know. Anyone that has
and it is, you know, I'm so disheartened to, you know, to learn that, you know, that most of the bats that you're making, you're making at the moment, everything is exported, right?
Export, pretty much. Because the other thing is the Sri Lankans overseas are supporting me more than the Sri Lankans here. They like that Sri Lankan made stuff, you know, gun up there. That's the Sri Lankan mentality overseas.
It's great to hear, man. The people outside the country supporting you, but not the people who live inside the country, which is very sad, you know. That
you can't blame them. Like, it's just the Sri Lankan way of life, you know. It's just the way it is. You got to accept it. But the thing is, the people, the Sri Lankans that do buy the bats here, 100% satisfied. Like, nice, like, reviews, everything's been good. So slowly it's getting there. I sold 2 bats today, you know, in Sri Lanka. Some of the women players bought some bats. It's slowly growing. I would like it to be a bit faster, but, you know.
But as we said, you know, like at the beginning of our chat, and if people missed, you know, that things don't happen overnight.
No, it does not.
Right? But, you know, there's progression in life, like in everything that you do. But the changing of mindset of people, which is very, very important. One of the reasons why I brought you on this show, I wanted to get this point across to people. Support local industries. You know, because, you know, what our people do, you know, like they go to the village market to buy something. They bargain out of, you know, these vendors, and, you know, there's always, but they go to fancy shopping malls. They just buy foreign goods without batting an eyelid, you know, which is not right. Like, you know, this is where India as a country, you know, they buy their local stuff. They support their local industries. You know, they were millionaires overnight. And as a country, you know, they blossom, they progress. Whereas, you know, we sit and wait for things to come from outside, because most of the things are like, you know, without duty, and the local industry cannot compete with, you know, rest of the world. You know, so first thing, if for you to progress in this work, we need to, I hope there's somebody listening to you out there, take this point across. The people who matter, you know, like, get the duty off for your raw material, so then you become competitive. right? Then you can make, specialized bats to suit the local market.
Indeed,
And then the other thing which people don't understand, that you cannot, the players cannot use your bat until you get ICC approval, right?
That's another long process. Yeah, but I'm working on that. The application is about to be submitted. So it's just a waiting game now. Because I'm hoping this once it gets approved, the Sri Lankan women players get to play with my bats in the World Cup, upcoming World Cup, T20 World Cup. But yeah, in the meantime, it's just waiting for Sri Lankans.
What are they asking? What are the requirements for you to register your brand
Pretty
name?
much showing the invoices, proof of suppliers, proof of sales, proof of factory, taking pictures of the factory, company registration. I have to show at least 12 months worth of invoices in the application. So I've done all that. It's been a long progress, because the business was up and down. It wasn't like a smooth 12 months of sales,
Right.
It wasn't there. So yeah, so pretty much at the end of 2018, I was pretty much gone. Like I had no business. Like business was really low. So in December 27th, I decided, all right.
That forced you to go back to Australia,
I had to
right?
go back to Australia, yeah. So after I met you, the business was there. The thing is, my parents didn't know how much I was suffering as well. Then my uncle, like, he knows, he's been telling my parents,
I believe you have nobody in Sri Lanka.
No,
it's just like one relative.
Yeah, one few.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So he told them, and then my parents were getting worried. My brother was from Australia. He was telling me, like, parents are worried. And then, but the thing is, I didn't have enough money to go back to Australia. I was dead broke. I had about 400 rupees pretty much left.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
And then my brother pretty much bought my ticket to go back to Australia. So I flew back to Australia. My parents were shocked. It was another story. I was skinny, like my shirts weren't like, it was skinny. Like this shirt was like overlapping me. Like it was that, this shirt would be too big for me if you saw me in that state.
It's a tough going for you, mate.
Tough going, yeah.
It was really.
I grew up in a first world country, and I suffered in a third world country.
Wow.
Not many people, yeah. And then, so in the first month I came back to Australia, I took a month off, I was like, all right, let's take a break, see how it goes, like just mentally relax myself. Started eating a lot, started going to the gym. And then, I started working for a courier company in Melbourne. And then I was like, all right, I'll work a few months, see how it goes. But on my first day, I was moving boxes into a van. And then I heard a voice saying, "Oh, Mali matu dawak then." So, Mali, brother, can you give me a hand?
Right, Aussie.
No, in Sri
Lanka.
Korea, in Sri Lanka, in Australia. So I was working in a courier company.
Yeah.
I had the Pyridinol on. So I heard a Sri Lankan voice saying, "Mali matu dawak then." I turned around. It was Suraj Randiv. That was right there in front of me. I was blown away. He doesn't know that. I haven't even told him. He was one of my idols growing up. I remember watching him when he came to Perth. In the T20 matches, he was spinning it. He got 2 wickets. I fell in love with him. I was copying his action, and this is pretty much my idol was just standing next to him. I didn't even know he was in Australia. And then I was working with him, and I told him, "Look, I'm making cricket bats." I was like, "Oh, that's good. Like Sri Lanka needs that." And then I was like, "All right, let's give this one more shot." Can't be coincidence. I bumped into Suraj Randiv. I was working with him.
Beautiful story, mate.
Yeah.
How you're pretty much down.
Yeah.
How you meet someone and again it inspires you to go back on the journey. Yeah,
brilliant. It was surreal, like Suraj Randiv,
surreal. Yeah.
And then I was like, all right. But the thing is, I wasn't earning much in the courier company, the company I was working with. So I quit that job. I was working Monday to Friday at a woodworking factory. So it was woodworking back. I was still doing woodworking, making cupboards and stuff. In that 6 months, I was pretty much working Monday to Friday, crazy hours. But I was looking for investors. Because I believed in this vision now. I was back on the track. I was healthier, mentally fit, physically fit. I was like, all right, give this one more shot, go after my goal. And then I remember going to uni. I was with a mate called Ronald. I saw him like one of my posts, and I just messaged him saying, "Hey, mate, I'm looking for investors for my business." And then pretty much he was in America at the time. He came back to Australia. He was living in Australia. He went to America for a whole day. And then I met up with him and had coffee with him. And I told him the business here. He was pretty much onto it. He said, all right, look, I back you. You're a good, nice person. I'll back you. And that's pretty much it. So that's when the money came through as an investor. I was like, all right, I got the investment down. And then I was like, all right, let's not go small here. Let's go big. Let's destroy Lanka. That's my plan. Mentally, I know I can do it. So that's when the investment, I bought better machines, better new machineries. I found a permanent supplier in Australia for English Willow. They were pretty much, we locked in a contract with them. They were happy to supply me English Willow clefs. I bought better machinery. So we rented out a factory We planned out a factory to get, because I wanted to make 100 bats at least a day, like that type of mentality. I wanted to hit because I believed in this. Like I can do it. It's just the Sri Lankans need to support me. I just need some luck here and there, like you said, need some luck. So I was like, all right, let's do this. So and then the 6 months I worked, I saved all that money again, and then July 23rd I moved back to Sri Lanka. We rented out the play warehouse in Kalinamula, got the new machinery in, got the clefs in, and then got some workers in and just started pumping out bats. Got pre-sales going, sold 30 bats already. Just need to sell a few more. So the thing is, like how I said, we were talking about, the tax is so high in Sri Lanka. It's unbelievable. I'm getting paid 20%. The Sri Lankan government thinks when I'm importing the clefs, I'm making furniture out of it. Because Sri Lankans don't think they can make cricket bats. So there's no like system saying this HS code is for clefs. They think it's for furniture. So I'm getting taxed high because they're saying, the government's saying, why don't you buy wood from Sri Lanka and make the furniture? I'm saying I'm not making furniture. I'm making cricket bats. But they said they can't do much. You have to talk to a higher person and get that changed. So that's where the prices are still competitive. Kumar said the prices are still competitive when I met him the other day. The thing is, I can drop it a lot more if the tax was lowered. If I can import more clefs, then the sustainability goes down as well. Then I'm churning out more bats a day. It becomes a different figure altogether. This is where I'm at now. So I'm churning out bats. I'm getting a lot of international sales. Unfortunately, Sri Lanka's domestic sales aren't the highest. But that's what you can do,
Have faith, mate. As you said, I'm sure that after this show, and anyone who is watching it or who will watch after that, it'll be on Facebook that people can watch, listen to your story and support you wholeheartedly. That you to justify, as you rightly said, just making 1 or 2 bats a day, your sustainability, you're not going to sustain.
No.
So you need to, you can't pay wages, your upkeep, everything. So you got to hit that mark, where you could make at least 50 bats a day.
Yeah, that's the plan.
Minimum,
I've designed the factory to make 100 bats a day.
Do you have the facility to make 100 bats?
I have all the machines. I have backup machines, everything. I recently made a kiln as well, like a heat chamber for the wood. So because the Sri Lankans like lightweighted bats, I made a kiln, a dehumidifier and everything that absorbs the moisture out of the willow.
Yeah.
So it makes it a lot lighter. So it's a game changer,
But doesn't it make the bat break when you take all that moisture out?
No,
really?
It does not. Yeah, I have a moisture control level as well.
Okay.
So it keeps the level is 10%. The thing is, in Sri Lanka, the bats, I've met some other international bats players, their percentage is 17 to 18%, which is 8% higher than what it should be. Now the dehumidifier is here, I can make it to that 10%. Because in Australia, people play with 10%. The bat, when it comes out of factory, should be 10%.
The moisture content.
Moisture level, yeah.
Okay.
Moisture level.
But you find the moisture content in our bats
16 to 18%.
probably because of the conditions, right?
Yes. Yeah. But the thing is, if you look
after the wood absorbs, more.
Yeah. But the thing is, if you look after the bat, you oil it, you put some polish, you put extra tech, you take care of the bat, it should be fine. There's stuff like that, small little things like that, you can fix the bat. So that's what I'm doing. I'm making the bats lighter for the Sri Lankan people.
Just an advice, I overheard Kumar telling you, until you establish yourself domestically, why don't you keep the options open? Can you repair bats as well?
I can. That is a possibility. But the thing is, yes, I can repair bats. But the thing is, I'm not just going to stop at cricket bats. I want to make pads, gloves, helmets, all in Sri Lanka. Why stop at cricket bats? Sri Lanka's number one sport is cricket, and no one's making any of that stuff. That just mind boggles me.
No, we are not. Actually, going back, remember that I told you the story about Chakravarti.
Yeah.
And those were the bats. And then we had a company called Nodes.
Okay.
NORDS.
Okay.
But they were manufacturing cricket goods then.
Oh, really?
And they even made cricket boots.
In Sri Lanka?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, some of those, the Mr. P.S. Kumar, like a very good, he was a senior member at Colombo Cricket Club. And I grew up with his sons, excellent tennis players. I don't know the boys are listening to the show. And Uncle Kumar, P.S. Kumar, started making cricket goods. And it was called Nodes. They made pads. They made gloves. It's a funny story, mate. Those gloves, we used to call it koskatu. Those spiky ones. I don't think you have even seen them. They were not sausage gloves. The sausage gloves came later on. So they were like it is like a metal brush It's like a rubber piece of rubber. This sewn onto like a wooden cloth, and it had spikes. So if you get hit on your knuckles, it would only take the impact away, but it will break your definitely a person strong enough to take the impact. So as you said that not only we had bad bats and we played on dodgy wickets as well, we had to ensure that we won't get hit, because if you get hit on your knee, the pads weren't good enough. But we were manufacturing cricket goods 30 years ago.
What happened to that?
The moment imports came in, the Norths could not compete with the same thing that happened to you. That that they couldn't compete with the imports, and people stopped buying the local products, and most of the industries closed down. And if we continued today, perhaps the Norths would have been one of the world's leading suppliers. So I hope, seriously hope, people listening out there take a cue, like what we are discussing, make that change now. And maybe I don't know how long I will live, but perhaps when I look back, when you are, I believe, I reckon that you're going to hit the top sooner than later, right? And someday looking back, and that we make positive changes, and you become a number one entrepreneur, that biggest manufacturer of cricket goods in the country. That would be the day. I'll be very happy to say that this boy sat in front of me, we had a chat, and something good came out of it. And my show is all about inspiring people, giving blokes like you a chance to go out there and to shine. And that's what it is all about. And the local administrators, our system should be geared accordingly, because you can't fight all these battles all by yourself.
Cannot.
Right? You need support. And so I hope that support has to come from somewhere. That's the reason why I thought, come on the show, tell your grievances to the rest of the world, and ask people to support you, which I'm asking people once more to support you, buy your bats. So in a nutshell, before we wind up, so that the first things first, like we will follow up on the person who played you out at the start, right? You got to track him down. One day, try and recover your losses, so you minimize. So that will become an incentive for you someday. And then you work on your other, like finances, which you are working on, and getting your brand established.
Because my goal is to make pads and gloves, not just to be a bat repair. That's not that.
But do you have any idea, how to make pads and gloves? It's a different craft, altogether.
But then at the same time, this whole time I've been researching every night. I just small little research, building up. So I know what the materials I need, where to get it from. You just get in there. It's going to be a.
But you will have the same problem, because you probably will have to import raw material again from Bangladesh or India or someplace. So that's so you're going to make sure. But once you get over that initial hurdle of getting clearance from the treasury or whatever for duty, then the rest also becomes easier.
Yes, indeed.
So the local industry becomes. And I'll tell you one more thing: the moment you establish, you will see hundreds of others, going to copy you, because you have done all the hard work. There'll be so many people who start manufacturing bats, but people, if you're listening out there, making a bat is not, it's just not like making a cake or it's just it's a different ball game, isn't it?
Indeed, I thought it was like I'll get the hang of it in 1 week or one day. It took me at least 2 months to get my first proper bat out. It was a long road. I still have the first ever cleft I have. It's pretty much like half of this. That's what was left of the bat. Just like when I first made my bat. That's how it went. But you improve, you learn, you don't give up, you back yourself. That's the more hours of hard work you're going to put in, you're going to get better, and you're going to get better and better. Being at it exactly as I told you when I first started this. I still make mistakes. I forgot to open it to public because I was doing a test transmission and it was restricted viewing. So so it all happens because now if I had my production crew, the guys would have done it. And usually I operate 2 monitors, and today I thought, no, being smart, look, I'll have only one because it's a different setup. Still make mistakes, but the next time I'll make sure that won't repeat the same mistakes. So you learn. As long as you learn from mistakes, that's what matters.
Exactly.
Don't make the same mistake twice.
So at the moment, your future plans, you have you're a citizen of this country, or
now I am, yes. Okay. But even that, inshallah, just took forever. like to even become a citizen of Sri Lanka, to get dual citizenship, because I was Australian citizenship.
Yeah.
It just took forever as well. That was another problem I had to face, becoming a citizen of Sri Lanka. But eventually I got that through. Like in the process says it only takes 3 months. I had to wait pretty much a year to get it.
Which is sad to hear.
Yeah.
And I mean, you very much you want to become a citizen of this country, and
Yeah.
it's a long process.
Yeah.
But hopefully you got over it, because otherwise, what I was going to tell you,
Yeah.
if you were a foreigner running an industry, you would have had other complications. The legal complications. All those things. So so it's a long road ahead of you.
Yeah.
So you're clear. So you can work and earn in Sri Lanka. As a citizen,
Yeah.
a dual citizen. I presume you can work.
Yeah,
But I don't know whether look into the possibility. Probably you could start like a BOI project.
That is, but the thing is, the BOI, you have to pay a large amount of money, like 8 lakhs, because it's designed for large investors to start businesses.
Okay.
The system is not designed for young entrepreneurs to start ups to survive. It's just there's no system like that. I'm very lucky that I'm from Australia. I have Australian investors on board. Otherwise, I don't think any Sri Lankan startup entrepreneur can do anything. It's impossible.
It's very sad to hear, isn't
Yeah.
it? People may have the inspiration to do
yeah.
big things, but they are restricted because of all the bureaucracy and red tapes around.
How can another Sri Lankan start this? You need a lot more capital. I just can't see another Sri Lankan start becoming a manufacturer. It's just impossible.
So do you have to pay the investors back someday, or it's just like
it's 20. Like I give them a portion of my company to them.
Okay.
They're good mates. I went to uni with one of them. So they have my backing. We're all the same age. Like we're just like-minded. We know what we're doing.
It's good to hear, mate.
Yeah.
The people. It's going to be a long-term investment. Because the profits are not going to come overnight. And
because I went to a few capitalist investors in Sri Lanka, Tarsal investors. One, I'm not going to say their name, but they said I was just too young. They didn't believe in me. That's
the same mentality. When I first started, I'm not going to mention names. But I said at the beginning, I was fortunate that some people came forward and helped me along. And I must mention, you can see the name at the back. The Mobitel came on board and supported me, but some of the other service providers, didn't want to help me. Same attitude. You're too small.
Yeah.
Your viewership is not worthwhile. Us coming on board.
Yeah.
But one day that you become successful, they all want to get on board.
Yeah.
So for your couple of your like-minded, mates, for you to support. It's a blessing, mate. It's a very positive story. Yeah. So probably they would have realized it's just the money is not going. It's not like going to a casino and paying roulette and just making your money. It's a long-term investment and the hard yards. Hard road ahead of you.
I'm very fortunate that they back me 100%. All my decisions, they've been backing me. We haven't had any arguments. It's very smooth. It's just now up to the Sri Lankan public if they really want to support this.
Yeah, mate. It's a great story. Like what you said. That I hope people out there will listen to you and learn a lot from you. Your dedication is what hard work is all about, and just you being ambitious, and how positive you are looking at the future. Yes, there will be obstacles. You are going every day, but it's a matter of not getting depressed, but how you handle situations.
Yes, indeed.
You will always find problems in life. Especially running a factory. That I'm sure that. You have difficulties in your power, must be in the area that you live in, the power fluctuations, and all kinds of that the labor is an issue.
Yeah, but it's a lot of there's a lot of backstory to this. Like it's not like what you see at the front is not the final result. There's a lot of hard work that goes into this. Days and nights. It's like losing sleep. I've pretty much been working 9 weeks straight now. 7 days a week, Can
I have the brand name again, mate?
Yes.
The people are saying that they didn't see the brand name. Okay, I'll just show it to them. People, there you go. If they can see, yep, it's called Staunch. And I take a good look at the young man sitting in front of me. He's the brains behind this whole project. And please support him. And every cent you spend on Sahan's bats, it's you're helping the nation, helping a young man.
I want to create jobs in Sri Lanka. I want to make pads, gloves. It's just going to create a large industry. I didn't come here just for a small thing. I came here for the big one.
Okay, so good chat. Like before we wind up, mate. So I know it have been pretty hard. So how are you managing at the moment? So you're very much on your own.
pretty much my parents. Now my parents have been calling me frequently, seeing if
Okay.
checking up on me. I'm okay. Everything's going well. I've gained a lot of weight now. When I came back, so when I left to Sri Lanka in 2018, I was 70 kilos. I came back 57 kilos. Yeah.
You lost so much weight.
13 kilos I lost. Yeah.
Is that because of all the stress that you underwent,
Stress,
and that's a
now I'm back. I'm 73 now, so I'm
yeah,
much more than
maintain.
Yeah.
So but that kid that I saw Ketaram a couple of years ago at 59, you look far better than what you look now. And how old are you?
I'm 24 now. I was 24.
You have done well for a 24-year-old kid, mate.
I started this when I was 21, pretty much.
Right. So you are same age like my sons. That so I'm more like, as you said, I'm more like a father figure.
Yes, you are.
And all what I can do is, your parents are someday, if I meet them, and to say that I tried to help your son. That I did all what I could do as a fellow human, and I will continue to help you in whatever I can. That all I can say is I wish you well. And tell me, for a 24-year-old kid, coming from a first world country, settling in, how do you, the Christmas season, how you going to cope up? This, why I'm saying it, I still do crazy things, mate. You can't see, from where you are, it's on the screen.
Yeah.
Come this Friday, tomorrow, day after.
Yep.
That's I do a show called Friday Night Live.
Oh yes, I've seen on. Yes.
Right.
The
so it's like bunch of my former DJs, the old school mates, getting together and having a crazy jam session, that we just get together and play our favorite music, so the before the show we always, I just brief them and I tell them, hey mate, stick to different genres. One guy plays a bit of dance and someone plays funk and R&B, and someone plays like a little bit of hip hop, and then you go back to old classics and dance music and stuff like that. And it all depends on the crowd and who's watching you and the mood of the people. But it never happens, suddenly you play and the other guy can say, get off, mate, let me play. And it's a big laugh, It's a massive fun. I hope you can make it with your mates on Friday.
Definitely.
It'll be great to see you. Probably not your cup of tea, but we play certain new stuff. But if you still like the old school music, a great atmosphere, the CH is always a very affordable place. And
sounds good.
The beverages are affordable, great food, very friendly staff, and the beauty of it is we open on that night, we open it to, it says members and their guests, but since the club opens up for anybody who's interested coming to have some fun that night. The club is open, so people, please, that it looks like two of my DJs are out of the country at the moment, so yours truly may end up playing little longer than what I usually do. Seriously, I have no patience. At the moment, I play 3-4 songs and I had it. I just want someone else to come and play, take over. But there are days that I feel good and I want to play a little longer. It all depends on the spot what I want to do. But it's just an old habit that happened from my school days, and I still continue. And I hope people will come out and support me, and just the way I expect for people to support you.
Definitely support you. It's the least I can do for the old school.
So what do you want to say to you people that, before we sign off for the day?
First of all, it's nothing about me. I just want to say thank you to Charit. This man is an unbelievable character. He's helped me so much. Even last Saturday he came there. He said, come down to Transports. They're doing an opening. He took time out. He missed an interview. He was meant to have a meeting with the production guys here. He took time off. He missed the meeting. That's the type of person he is. There's nothing, but he's helped me enough. I can't ask more, but just keep supporting Charit's show as well. That's the least I can ask from the people.
Sam, that's brilliant, mate. It came straight from the heart. I help people that I think I get immense pleasure helping others. I think when you help others, in return that I don't know. I'm not a very spiritual person, but I didn't even ask, what you believe in. It's not my problem. So I respect everybody. But there are certain things in this world which I have realized in my life that you help someone, it creates good vibes. And it can have a very positive effect on your life. So that's what I am. At this stage of my life, I think I have lived, I think 75% of my life. Perhaps the next 25%, if I can make a difference in another person's life, that's all I want. That's the reason why this week I had someone else scheduled, but I decided, let me bring this kid in and have a chat. And to tell you frankly that I wanted you to tell your story to people, and because that's a true story, nothing made up. Humble beginnings, rag to riches. Riches is yet to come, but absolute struggle which you are still going through. And you will continue to struggle, mate. I can see that. Although with all that positivity going around, but all we can say is that I wish you well. I will continue to support you.
Thanks so much.
As you said, your parents are not around, so you can always look up to me like a father figure. As I said, I have twin boys who are 24, same age, and so enjoy the country, and you got to understand the way the Sri Lankan, the mentality, the systems work. Coming from a first world country, that it can be pretty frustrating, but absorb all that pressure, the frustration, and continue to work hard.
Thanks, mate. Thank you so much.
And so I think we pretty much covered everything, what we need to discuss. Sahan, thanks again.
Thanks again.
That's great having you. So I hope I will see you, on Friday.
Yes, definitely be there. That's the least I can do.
And so I believe you still work up to the leading up to Christmas.
Yes, I'll be working.
And if I don't see you, Merry Christmas.
Thank you, mate. Merry Christmas to you and Happy New Year.
And all the very best to you.
Thanks,
so I wish you that 2020 will be an absolute blast, and then you will be up there, mate. That's big time. So I see your brand name staunch. That I hope ICC will get your approvals, and that everything will be in order, and that you'll be my hero, right, next year. So that's my wish.
Thank you so much.
All the best, mate.
Thanks, mate.
All right, people.
Thanks,
That's about tonight. That I expected. I thought I'll have a quick chat with Sahan. I believe that we have spoken almost. What time is it? Yep, we have spoken over an hour. It's one of the longest chats that I've had. Yes, you and I didn't feel the time moving, and it's great. And I thought, because I will extend it a little, because some people probably would have missed at the start, but I will. That it'll be on Facebook, that people can go back and watch. And you see that sometimes when you're in the zone, you don't feel the time moving. It becomes.
It's just like making cricket bat.
Exactly.
Before you know it, like the day's gone and you've churned out a few bats. It's just wonderful.
Yeah. So I didn't feel the time moving, and it always happens. When I have a guest on my show, it gets absorbed, and so time stands still. It becomes an absolute pressure. All the best, my son.
Thanks,
it's brilliant. People out there, once again, good night.
Good night.
Please do join me next Tuesday. Got another great guy, Julian Bowling, absolute star. That I think he was back in the 80s. I can't recall. He was my hero, and he won massive amount of gold medals during SA during SAF games.
Oh, really?
And I think his record was broken only last year, if I'm not mistaken. The new swimmer, the sensation, Matthew, I think Abe Singer,
really?
The guy won 9 gold medals or whatever.
Yes.
Julian had whole heap of, I think he won about 8.
Really?
Absolute star. And people must listen to Julian talk. He has big ideas about just the way Priyantha spoke the other day.
Oh, really?
What needs to be done to improve our sports. Okay. And these are guys who have come from grassroots level, and the highest standards that Sri Lanka and any athlete could offer. He took, he even went for Olympics. He qualified for Olympics.
Oh, really?
So the serious stuff. So I'm looking forward to have Julian, and hope if you get a chance, listen to what Julian has to say. You may learn a lot from him. All right, people. Once again, thank you very much, and my party people. That my first challenge for the week. I'm done with Sahan. The next challenge coming up on Friday. Hopefully, we'll have a good one.
Yes, we will.
And it's leading up. Good time. Festivities. The schools are closed, and the festivities on Christmas. Good weather. Hope it will. I don't care whether it rains or not. Doesn't worry me.
I'll be there.
Yeah. All right, rain or shine, we'll be there. Thanks, people. Good night. We'll catch you soon. Bye bye. Take care.